Welcome to Total Health Magazine on Total Health Television. I'm your host, John Barson. Today we're going to be talking about high blood pressure. And that's because the number of Americans at risk for heart attacks and strokes just got a lot higher. Approximately 103 million American adults are now suffering from high blood pressure, according to the American Heart Association. That's nearly half of all adults in the entire country. The death rate from high blood pressure increased to nearly 79,000 by 2015. Guidelines published last November have redefined high blood pressure. The old standard used to be 140 over 90, but the new standard is 130 over 80. And that means that the percentage of adults with high blood pressure jumped from 32% to nearly 46% thanks to the new guidelines. And that, of course, means new medications, more medications. And Americans right now are already, if you're under 60, taking an average of 4 medications a day. And if you're in your late 60s, 70s, you're taking nearly 7 medications a day. Now, according to the statistics, only about 1 in 5 Americans gets enough exercise and have poor eating habits. And that has contributed to nearly 45% of U.S. deaths in 2012 from heart disease, stroke, and type 2 diabetes. So what can we do about that? How do we reduce our medications? Because in a recent study published this January, they found that just by talking to your prescriber, you can reduce your medication protocol by at least 1 medication. And of course, when you're taking all these different medications, that means there are different side effects. And quite often, you're on more than one drug or more than one prescription because of the side effects from that first prescription. So today we're going to talk about reducing your prescription load, hopefully, with the founder and CEO of 120 Life. Ira Antelis joins me now from Chicago. Hello, Ira. Welcome to Total Health Magazine.
Hey, John. It's great to be here. Nice to talk to you.
You know, I was introduced to your company by one of our great writers, Dr. Cheryl Selman. She told me, John, you got to talk to Ira. You got to call him. You got to talk about 120 Life. I'm like, I'm kind of busy. He goes, no, this is important. Ira has created a product that is simply amazing and helps treat people with high blood pressure. I thought, oh, that got my attention right away. So, of course, I contacted you and we started talking. And you've created this product called 120 Life. And it's a cocktail of sorts. But before we get into talking about the actual product, I want to get some of your background for our viewers. How did you get interested in creating this product?
Well, I was listening to your intro, and based on what you said, you would look at somebody like me and think, well, he couldn't have high blood pressure. I mean, I exercise every day of my life for like the last 40 years. And I eat pretty well. But one day I went to the doctor and my blood pressure had elevated, I'd realized, over a period of time. And he said, you're sort of at a danger level with your blood pressure. It's high, it's very high and you need to bring it down. And you would think somebody like me knew what that meant. And I said, okay, what do I do? And he really couldn't give me the right answer, except what you were saying. Here's some medication. You've got 3 weeks to lower it. So what I did was I went home and I just started reading, what could I eat? What could I drink? And I realized I did lower my blood pressure with the medication and I cut my salt. But over a period of time in the next year, I kept reading about all of these things, beverages that would lower your blood pressure. So what happened was I'm like doing research. Hibiscus will lower your blood pressure 7 to 10%. Pomegranate juice, 2 ounces a day, lowers your blood pressure 7%. Beetroot powder, same thing. And so finally, after reading about the 6 ingredients that do this, I just started to do the math. I'm like, okay, so everything I've read about, if you combine them, would lower your blood pressure about 40 to 50%. Has anybody done it? I'm thinking, sure, somebody must have done this. And I'm looking online. there's got to be, as you said, there's 100 million people. Now think about this. Everybody in the United States, or many people, like football. So if you took every football stadium that has an average of 80,000 people, and let's say there's 40 teams, that's 3 million people if you fill them all. And now think about this. There's 100 million people in the United States with this disease. I'm looking online. There's nothing. There's no functional beverage. So what I did was I created this drink, and I start drinking it and giving it to people. And lo and behold, people are saying, wow, my blood pressure dropped 30 points, 40 points, 50 points. And at that point, I knew I had something, and I'm like, we're going to take this to market. And my background, as I think I told you, is in music. So This is something as foreign for me as you can get. But I'm like, we're going to do it. And I really want to help people besides myself. And that's what happened.
Well, I love your story. I mean, being in music, of course. I mean, I know a lot of music. I think musicians tend to really get more out of life because they're always trying to find out new ways to make the music work, to mix the music, to create that sound, that magic mixture. And
that's right.
What you've done is you've taken all of these ingredients that have all of the science behind them. And I want to point out that there's a lot of science behind the ingredients that you have in your product. You know, just as an aside, I last couple of weeks I've been a little bit frustrated with major media because I've read articles on NBC where they're talking about how people that are taking supplements, people that are doing what you did, which is research into what they could do to help reduce their medications or treat their symptoms. They're saying in this article that was front page on NBC that supplements and vitamins don't work. They're a waste of money. And
they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong.
Well, they said there's no science, and there's so much science. There's so much science on aged garlic, on vitamin D, on all of these different supplements and vitamins. There's, in fact, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But I got to interrupt because the great thing about 120 Life is there is science behind it, because we know that if you have high blood pressure, the first line of defense is a diuretic, and we know factually that hibiscus is a diuretic, and that's in our drink. We know a second line of defense from the medical profession is what's called an ACE inhibitor, and we know factually that pomegranate juice is an ACE inhibitor in our drink. We know that beetroot is a smooth muscle relaxer, factually, and we know that they give you that kind of medication. We know magnesium in our drink is a calcium channel blocker, and that's a fact. And we know that that's another medication that is prescribed. So if they're looking for scientific evidence, we have it. And the medication they would give you is found naturally in our drink as like a cocktail. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, not at all. Not at all. You made great points there. In addition, the other thing I love about your product, to draw an analogy, if you look at most prescriptions, like a drug is designed to attack one thing. So it has a specific function. And the difference between that specific function and what you're talking about and what you've created is something called the entourage effect. So you know from science that your product has all of these capabilities. The different ingredients have these different capabilities. But I liken it to medical marijuana, where your body is full of CBD receptors and or endo. I knew I was going to get this word wrong. Let's correct this word. Endocannabinoid receptors in your body. And when you take CBD or you take medicinal marijuana oil, your body reacts not to one thing, because they know there's over 250 different components in that molecule that affects so many different systems in your body. They call it the entourage effect. Vitamin D has a bit of an entourage effect, especially when you combine it with K2. So what you've done is you've taken these great ingredients, again with the science behind them, and combined them in a formula that can seriously reduce a person's blood pressure, because it's your body's benefiting in so many different ways from
Exactly.
the ingredients. It's not one thing.
That's right. And furthermore, we've started what I call the results list. So I can give you names of people that call me every day. Carl Batson from Michigan called me, said, nothing can solve my blood pressure. Your drink, I dropped 90 points. 90 from 199 over 129 to 108 over like 62. I get stories like this all the time. And I think it's exactly what you said. It's that combination. I'm not going to try to use the word, the combination effect in your body that makes this happen. And by combining these things, your body reacts very well to it. I think that's what's going on.
Well, and doctors are coming to the realization, as in this report, talking about poor diet. And that was the other thing that was in that article and on that show. What was the show I watched the other day? The guy, he does he breaks, he's like a myth buster, but he doesn't do myths. He just I have to look it up.
Okay.
Anyways, I watched his show on vitamins and supplements, and he came out there and he completely did the same thing. He said that there's no benefit from scientific benefit proven from vitamins and supplements, and that you can get everything you need in your diet. So let's think about that for a second. Let's go back to that study. According to the statistics, only 1 in 5 Americans gets enough exercise or has good eating habits. So that means 4 out of 5 Americans have poor eating habits. So that tells me they're not getting what the nutrition and the supplements and the vitamins that they need in their diet in order to prevent high blood pressure and a myriad of other conditions that are out there. So what you've done is you've taken these great ingredients and formulated a product that you can add to your diet.
That's right.
Not your prescription regimen. And it has a marked effect. Now, it's not going to have the same effect on everybody, as you said earlier, with that one caller. He went down 90 points, which is, doctors won't believe that. But
the other thing people don't know, and again, I didn't know this, so think of it this way. When you have high blood pressure, what does that mean? And what it really means is you are putting stress on your heart. That's why the rate of heart disease goes up. And the stress on your heart sort of chokes the oxygen to your brain. And that's why people get strokes. We sort of liken it like this way. Suppose you have, everybody knows a fire hose. So suppose like normal blood flow is going through a fire hose. Now take that same amount of blood flow and try to put it through a garden hose. And this is what's happening when you have high blood pressure. Your body is being stressed where the blood is trying to go to places at a level it can't go. So this is, if you could normalize your blood pressure and bring it down, all of a sudden everything opens back up. See, I think a lot of people just don't realize what this is, and it can be solved through a number of things. When we think our drink is one way to help, cutting back your salt, exercise, it's a combination thing, but I think a lot of people just have no understanding of what it is.
Yeah, no, it's true. It really is. I just think that, again, going back to diet, like you've taken, again, created this cocktail with all of these different components, and, people can go out and they can source all of those different ingredients and try and start taking them. But you've really made it convenient by eliminating the process. You've just, and of course, you source your ingredients. How do you source your ingredients?
We have a co-packer, and they take care of all of that. But based on what you were just saying, also, look, you know what? Sometimes people want to do their own thing, and my hope is to help people. So I say, look, if you don't want to buy our drink, that's fine. Go buy pomegranate juice, 100% complete juice, or go buy hibiscus tea, or go buy beetroot powder. Any of these things, any of them will help you bring your blood pressure down. So if you can't afford our drink, even though it's not overly priced, or you don't want to go online or order, there are other things you could do. Cut your salt. cut your salt in half. If you could do that, that's another thing. So these like little things we try to help, inform. I think people are not very well informed. I wasn't informed. My doctor really said, he said, you have high blood pressure, go fix it. I'm like, what is that? And I had to go figure it out.
Well, you actually are the perfect reader profile for Total Health Magazine because, and by the way, we are closing in on our 40th anniversary issue this coming October, which
wow,
I can't believe
That's
it's.
great.
Yeah, the magazine's been around 40 years. I haven't, but the magazine's been around 40 years. But the type of readers that we really enjoy are people that, like yourself, are taking charge of their own healthcare. That you are doing your research, you are asking questions, and all too often lately, I've seen a lot of public speakers, doctors in the media saying, well, there's too much misinformation on the internet. People should stay off the internet and listen to their doctors. I call bullshit because thanks to the internet, I found out about you. Thanks to the internet, people are finding sources of information and research.
That's true, and I gave up swearing, even though I used to be really good at it. But I think there's a lot of stuff on the internet that can really inform you. And even if you look at our website, we just don't say anything. We show you the studies. So if you don't believe me that beetroot powder or hibiscus or pomegranate juice or magnesium, don't take my word. I have the studies and the clinical trials on our website that show. If you did, in the double-blind studies, people who took the beetroot powder versus the people that didn't, it's all there. It's all documented. I don't want to pull the wool over anybody. So just go read about it, and that's on the internet too.
So when did you form the company? When did you bring the product to market?
So we started April 1st. It went to market, and so we're about 4 months in. And as I mentioned today, we were mentioned in the Wall Street Journal. And we've had other, TV and other PR publications, and, we're growing, more subscribers. We find that over 50% of the people that have ordered this come back and reorder multiple times, which says to me, I haven't talked to every one of them. I've talked to many that it's working and they're seeing very positive results.
Okay.
So it's about so the company's about 4 months old. And we're starting to get a lot of interest, just to because like I said, nobody's ever done it, and it's such a huge problem in this country. So it is one step of many I think you can do, especially as you talked about in your opening. So now we know 130 over 80 is where people are starting to be aware that you have high blood pressure. But the doctors will say, well, we're not going to put you on any medication until you're at 140. So if you're at 130 or around, you need to start taking positive steps to make this stop. And, we believe our drink is one of those steps.
And your drink, how readily available is it online? Of course, people can order it, but is it available in the stores yet?
It's not, everybody sort of laughed at me, including my wife, when I decided to do this. And they're like, oh, you'll never get into stores. And I thought, okay, you know what? Maybe the easiest way to do this was to start it online, which we did. And now we're starting to talk to retailers about, about going in. So the first step was establish online. Our Amazon store will go up in about, I think September 10th is the date. So, and now we're starting to talk to retailers and figure out how we could do this.
Great. So this is like the birth.
The birth.
The birth of 120.
Yeah, you know what? It's really been the birth, and it's sort of given me a new mission in my life. My life really revolved around my family and my music and my friends. And so it's sort of interesting that at my age, I'm going to be 61, that you can sort of form a new venture in your life, something you've never done before. Something I think, it can be, for all the people who say, well, I'm 60 and I can't do it. No, there's a lot more to be done, and anybody can start anything. It's never too late. I'm living proof of it.
I absolutely agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. And you can look up to me because I'm 61, so I'll be your mentor.
Okay.
Okay, terrific.
Brother,
okay. One question I wanted to ask. What's the time frame that people actually start seeing results once they go on your drink? And there's two versions, or not two versions, sorry. So depending on your body size, is it your body size? So the average person drinks one a day if they're women,
Yeah.
2 a day if they're men? Like, how does that work?
So here's what I found. And again, I'm not a doctor, and I found what worked for me is what I had originally thought. Some people call me and say, when I got 120, to get it in my system, I would drink like 2 bottles a day for the first 3-4 days. And then I went down to 1 bottle, and I saw results in 5, 6, 7 days. So what I've been recommending, and I actually email people who buy the product, I call them and I email them and say, look, if you want, maybe for the first 2 or 3 days, drink 2 bottles a day and then cut it back. And that seems to be a good protocol. And the results seem to be like within 6, 7 days, people are realizing, wow, my blood pressure is starting to go down.
Okay, good. I'm glad you said that, because so often I see products you have to take for 2, 3, 4 months, and
No.
and
And I say,
the results are marginal.
This, right? And what I say is this, that, my goal is to help people. If you order this product and you find it does not help you, and again, it doesn't help everybody. We find the overwhelming majority it's been helping. Just email me or call me. I will send you your money back 100%. There's no questions asked. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm ripping them off, but we have found high success with this, but nothing works for everybody. So if that's a problem, you let us know.
Well, that's obviously a great approach, 100% money back guarantee. But I know from, especially from Dr. Cheryl Selman telling me how great the product is, that's the only endorsement I needed, frankly. So, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to following your progress, Ira, and the growth of 120 Life. So, and let me know when you get your Amazon store up, and we'll put a link to your Amazon store along with this video. When it's ready to go, and we'll get back in touch with you. We'll follow up with you. I really want to follow, especially the numbers. If you can somehow find a way to track the people that are on the product and collect some statistical information that you can share with us and other publications.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I could do that. And hey, the most important thing is happy anniversary and 40, and here's to 40 more.
Thank you. So, hey, Ira, thank you for this. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you for doing your research. Thank you for creating this product and this formula. And we will stay in touch with you.
Yeah, lastly, it's just 120life.com if people want to just check it out.
Well, through the magic of technology, we already have the link below the interview. And people can follow it, click on it, and get more information from your website. Encourage them to go and read the studies.
All right, have a great day. Thanks again.
All right, you too. Ira Antelis has been my guest today on Total Health Magazine. 120life.com is the website. 120 Life is the product. Hopefully coming to a store near you very soon, but soon on Amazon. Follow the links below for more information if you've got high blood pressure. That's it for this edition of Total Health Magazine. I'm John Barson. Stay healthy.